What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Zachary Reality. It is Zachary Reality, and we are here to chat Perfect Match Season 2. The first 6 episodes are now streaming on Netflix. We're going to get all into it, and I have a very special guest here today to interview, to chat with. You may know him from Love is Blind Season 5 or Perfect Match 2. Izzy, how are we doing?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Are you sure you can't complain, or the first 2 episodes were a
Oh
little rough
God,
for you?
man, it was it's pretty cringy. So I'm still kind of dealing with it, but no, I'm good. I guess better than I can be.
I mean, your second time on TV, you kind of have to be prepared for what's to come, not knowing what to expect.
Yeah, definitely not because I get to watch it with all of y'all as it comes out. So yeah, I'm pretty much first reaction you'll see is what y'all think at the same time. So it's cringy though. It's been pretty cringy, I'll say.
Yeah, we'll get into that little awkward moment with our girl Micah,
hmm
but it's okay. So Love is Blind season 5, you were on it. How long is that turnaround before you go on to Perfect Match and with it airing? Like, what is the
Oh
timeline?
man. I want to say Love is Blind actually was gonna air about 3 weeks after I got done filming Perfect Match. So Love is Blind hadn't even came out yet. But it had already been like going on 2 years since I did Love is Blind. So I kind of got the last minute, hey, we want you for Perfect Match thing, probably about a month and a half before I even went out to film the show. So yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking for sure.
Because so Love is Blind didn't air yet before you filmed Perfect Match.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so you don't even know like how the audience reacts to you, what it's like to be on TV, but was there any hesitation into doing a second show, knowing it would be like that with the back to back?
No, there was no hesitation. I thought it would be pretty cool, kind of just knock it out all at once. But yeah, there was no hesitation. I mean, when I did Love is Blind, it was my authentic self, and going into Perfect Match, same way. Then I very quickly learned with, different personalities, with different shows, it's a huge personality switch once these cameras come on. And
Mhm.
so as far as it was for me, I mean, I kind of just went in, kind of being myself, just like Love is Blind.
Yeah, and I think as like fans watching, we love the evolution from seeing people on different shows, and crossover shows are really fun. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you made it on here. Did you have any like plan going into it, like what you were looking for? Because you were about to get married on Love is Blind. So were you kind of looking for the same type of seriousness, or was this just more
Yes.
fun?
I think so because I hadn't even seen the first season. So
Mm.
watching the first season, obviously you have some that go in there very strategic, but I was looking at some of the girls on the first season, and they seemed like they were genuinely looking for like a long-term connection. So in my mindset, I went in like, okay, these people, want to look for a genuine connection. So I want to go in with someone, make a strong connection. That way, when these challenges came up or people coming into the house, they would be confident in me, or, vice versa, that, I wouldn't just leave for somebody that came in if I didn't make a solid connection with them. But then I very quickly learned, as I leave the house, it's like, man, there's so much I wish I would have done differently, and not went in so strong with my heart, been a little bit more lighthearted and a little bit more strategic with it.
Hmm.
And I was just a nervous wreck too. Clearly, you can see.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder like if it's more pressure on Perfect Match because like you're not getting married, right? But like you
hmm
also have to find a partner within like a day or two, otherwise you're gone. So like
Yeah.
what's more of a pressure cooker?
Yeah, I would say it's that. And I mean, in the span of having to match with someone, like you walk in that first day, you only have a couple of hours to try to
Hmm.
make an impression on somebody. And it's just hard. You never know. Some people might be just looking to shack up for the night, and some people might be looking for a genuine connection. So with my mindset going in, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be myself. And it's usually always worked for me in the past. And yeah, I kind of should have maybe went in with a little bit more of a fuckboy strategic vibe instead of just like word vomiting everything out there. So I came off so strong so fast.
Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be as much pressure because I think as viewers, we know that this show is much more lighthearted and fun. And like, I don't think that most people here are genuinely looking for like seriousness, which is like
hmm
fine. Like, if you want to just play the competition and be the perfect match, then like go for it, right? Like,
hmm
no one has to get married, but who kind of caught your eye when you got in here? We saw you matched up with Tolu. Was that kind
hmm
of just like initially what happened, first?
No, so that kind of came as the night went on. Clearly we're all trying to get to know each other. Once you kind of see that everyone's kind of matched, her and I end up having a conversation. At the end, she wasn't really making a genuine connection with anybody. Clearly neither was I. And it was like, all right, like let's make it through this kind of by like default. And that was unexpected, but it was pretty cool because, we started off as a friendship and it was as it went, I liked her values of what she was looking for in like a match and the connection kind of grew over time. But clearly, obviously new people come in and it stirs it up.
Mhm.
But actually one person I really didn't get to chat too much with that I probably would have went for was Xanthi.
Mm.
Just because she seemed like, she didn't mess around. She wasn't there to try, to play the game. Although she loved the bad boy, she was kind of looking for something more serious, kind of more of a gentleman than a fuck boy. So I was like, all right, I feel like I kind of matched with that, but I never really got the chance to talk to her because her and Kaz ended up, matching off.
Mm.
So it was
Yeah.
kind of hard to have those conversations once they were already paired off with each other.
For sure. What do you think of as while we're on the subject of Tolu? What did you think of like her journey on the show so far? Because you're gone, she's dated
Mhm.
Chris, she's talked to a lot of guys. I feel like she's in it for the long haul. It seems.
Yeah.
What was it like? What is it like watching her, knowing you guys like had that brief thing on the show?
It's nuts. Like, I didn't know how she was. Clearly, I never had heard or seen anything of her. And then we do have that you haven't seen, but like her and I had some conversations where, we're in the pool one night and really trying to get to know each other on a deeper level. So I knew she was in it for the long haul. And I was like, man, this girl's actually like really cool. I love her values in a relationship. So it doesn't surprise me like to see how she's handled everything. She's like very well composed and knows
Mhm.
exactly what she's looking for. So yeah, man, she's actually been very entertaining to watch. I'm
Yeah.
rooting for her.
Yeah. Is there anyone else you're rooting for, or maybe anything you've been surprised to see on TV that you didn't expect when you left the villa?
As crazy it is to say, and no, I'm not obsessed with her. We're great friends, but I was rooting for Micah.
Hmm.
Just because obviously, it did work out with us, but we end up becoming really great friends. So she reminds me a lot of myself as far as what we're looking for in a relationship. We both came from Love is Blind, and she's a big lover girl. So I was rooting for
Hmm.
her and Kaz as the show goes on. They do face some hardships and temptations, and so it's just like
Hmm.
I feel like it's just more realistic in relationships. It's not always perfect, so hoping for them to overcome those obstacles because they really did, in my opinion, had one of the most solid connections out of all the couples in there.
Yeah, I love watching Micah as well. She's definitely my favorite on the show, I think, as far as the
Mm-hmm.
girls. I love Tolu, and I love
Mm-hmm.
Alara. I didn't know who Alara was from Dated and
Alara's a
Related.
sweetheart. Yeah.
She's so fun to watch. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's so cool. But back to Micah, you were trying to flirt with her. It was a little awkward. You got some
Uh-huh.
flack online. What was the misstep here?
Um, Honestly, so clearly, I mean, I'm just a nervous wreck. I've never been the type of guy to just, I think it's more pressure to walk up and try to like spit some game in a moment. I've never been like that. I've been more organic. If I ever connect with a girl, it's usually off like a conversation that's happened naturally. So with this, obviously, I was just a nervous wreck. And I mean, clearly, I found her attractive. I have a type for blondes, they're my type. And I mean, I saw her on Love is Blind. Like, I never really watched too much reality TV beforehand. So clearly, I knew everything about her. It makes it look like I go sit there and like try to get at her again when clearly I can read a room. Like, if somebody rejects me, I'm not going to keep going for you over and over and over. So I will say that was the misunderstanding there for sure.
And that was the night you ended up going home. I guess it looked like
Mhm.
Micah was your last resort, but did you have another plan, or did you kind of just accept fate for what it was?
I accepted it. I was like, if pretty much my plan that night was there was clearly I saw everyone was connected. There was nobody else really that I was like interested in going further with. And I already knew I wasn't going to match with Micah. So I was pretty much just dependent on what's going to happen with Tolu and her date.
Mm.
And clearly, when she walks through the door, she's glowing. And me and Tolu, like, as we went through the kind of like experiment together, we always told each other like, hey, if you go on a date, like I want you to explore all your options. And she would tell me the same thing. So at the end of it, I was, really happy for her. So I kind of accepted it. And I was like, all right. But the only reason why I was okay with it is because I know there's potentially an opportunity for me to come back into the house and get
Mm.
thrown on a date later on down the road. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, I guess we saw that last season where people came back, but I can't remember if it
Mhm.
was just for like a jury thing at the end. Like, is there going
Yeah.
to be different rules, let's say, this season than last season? There'll be some twists.
There's gonna be some twists in there, that's for sure. Not completely different, but I think these next few episodes are gonna be very juicy for sure. The drama will unfold. So they do that, but always, I've seen from the previous season, there is opportunity for me to be thrown on the board again. So
Mm.
that's what kept me optimistic through the process. I was like, all right, clearly there's no one here. Let time take its toll. Let the drama stir up, and then hopefully, new girls come into the house, and I get thrown on a date with one of them later on down the road, and maybe I can potentially come back.
Okay. Two things I want to touch on there.
Hmm.
One, I think that there hasn't been as much drama this season as the first one. I think last season was really messy, and I think people are really cool this season.
Uh-huh.
Are people just like, too cool now? They don't want to be so messy. Everyone's mature, or is it really coming?
These next episodes are going to be really good. That's all I can say.
Okay.
There's a reason why we have a little bit of a change up in here is to stir the pot because it was a little too cool, too
Okay.
smooth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like that. I like that everybody wants to get along, like, but
Mhm.
I also think that
Well, like,
we
come
need a
on.
little bit of mess.
Exactly. The mess is coming. That's for sure.
Okay, so let's just say you're coming back to the house hypothetically. Is there
Hmm.
anyone that maybe caught your eye or someone that you thought about rekindling
Uh,
things with or trying it out?
yeah, I mean, there's a few faces. I think when you see the last episode on the What's to Come, you see me making out with one. So,
Mm,
yeah, there's a few faces that, catch my eye. This time, I would say if I do come back in, my strategy would be a little bit more different for sure.
okay, I'm looking forward to seeing it unfold. I do want to ask about Harry. He's kind of the talk of the town. Everyone's saying he's an F boy potentially.
Hmm.
Jess shouldn't trust him. Was it kind of the energy in the house where Harry was maybe getting like a different type of treatment, or like people were talking about him in a different way just because he is kind of the OG of all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, clearly, Harry's like a Netflix legend. He has the
Yeah.
reputation that he has. So I think at the time when this was being filmed, the whole Georgia article came out.
Mm,
So I think for the girls, they were all, a little bit scared. So I will give it to the girls. Like the girls were looking out for each other 100% through the entire process. It's kind of hard to, but like Harry is a cool guy. Like
yeah.
as far as like from the guys, he was, really cool with us and everything like that. But can't hate the player, hate the game kind of thing. At the
I
end of it,
mean,
can't blame him.
yeah, maybe like the timing of all that drama was happening right by
It
the
was definitely
filming.
an impact on that. That's why a lot of the girls were like, be careful. Georgia just came out with this, and he has a
Yeah.
history of this and that. So it did make an impact on him for sure.
I see like both sides of like the Jess Harry argument, because I understand that she should judge him for like him, but like
Hmm.
he is a vet and this is the world that he's been in for 5 years and he is no saint, so like of course it's
Yeah,
gonna come up. So I kind of thought he was being a little sensitive too. I'm like, Harry, you got to know
yeah,
you're Harry. So
exactly. Yeah, I
okay,
give him that. He did have that, like, come on, don't judge the book by its cover. And like, yeah, I see Jess's side, and Jess is such a good person to where she will give someone the benefit of the doubt until they do her wrong. But like,
yeah,
if you do her wrong, go kick rocks, kind of thing. And you only get one chance with her. So I guess we'll see what happens there.
that's true. Her and her EpiPen.
Uh-huh.
And you guys, oh my God, you guys, no one knew how like iconic that line was yet because she filmed that before it aired
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
exactly.
interesting. What were the challenges like for you? We saw the first one with like the
Yeah.
what was
Yeah,
that
that
kind of?
was tough, man. That was hard because those cages are so heavy. So I definitely do think like strength and size does matter. And clearly you have, Elise and Harry who are like the tallest guy and girl there. Besides Brighton, that was a really tough challenge. And we started off pretty good, me and Talou, and we got the cage moving a little bit, and then we just kind of got stuck and kind of in the middle. And so it was pretty hard, but it was fun. It was a good time. Regardless, win or lose, I still had a blast with it.
Cool, cool. What has the social media reaction been? Like, what have you kind of seen the fans saying about this season and about you on the show and how maybe it's
Um,
different?
Man, I've just seen, as far as for me, everyone's kind of been feeling sorry for me
Mm,
lately. Have told me I'm the most authentic one. It's because I'm not a fuck boy. And I mean, there's that side, and you have, the fans that have probably seen me on Love Is Blind, but also don't understand the fact that, like, hey, this is a competition. You realize, like, what kind of show you've gotten put onto. So, you get two sides of it, and people are enjoying it, and people are like, man, we hate the cast because everyone's just, you know, not in it either for fame or for just to fuck around with different people. But as far as for me, I've gone through the embarrassment. I've definitely got made fun of, which honestly, it's pretty funny. I make fun of myself at it at this point. So yeah, I mean, there's just a little bit of everything, but I think everyone's been pretty supportive so far. I mean, and all in all, whether good things to say or bad things to say, you're still watching and it's still good TV. So
Yeah. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. And there has been some rumors that maybe you have a girlfriend outside of the show. I don't know what you can say, but could you confirm your relationship status, or is this going to be a TBD before we know if Izzy is single and off the market?
Yeah, I think this has got to be a TBD. We got to let the rest of the episodes play out, and you just got to find out.
Okay, well then I will be waiting. You know, everyone go follow Izzy on Instagram. We'll see what happens in the last few episodes. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a blast, and I love you and your TikToks, man. I'm a huge fan, so thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. We got to meet very briefly at Saddle Ranch a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I was able to get you on here.
Me too, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right. Bye, guys.